Well known for its cutting-edge technology, HTC went from having 10% of the smartphone market share to today having a number starting with 0. So in this video, we're going to look at the rise and fall of the big tech giant, HTC. So HTC started in 1997 in Taiwan with three individuals known as Shen Wang, Peter Zhao, and HT Cho, who created it. So HTC started as a white label device maker, giving carriers an option to sell devices branded with their names, which is the same thing that Apple is actually doing right now with Foxconn, but the difference is HTC is doing both the designing and the manufacturing, and Foxconn in Apple's side is only doing the assembling of the device, and Apple is actually doing the designing. So HTC will go on in 1998 to release their first device, the HTC Kangaroo, which is a digital assistant running macOS OS on it. 2002, HTC will continue to release more personal digital assistants, which will lead to attract more wireless providers to be interested in HTC. So from 2002 to 2006, HTC will continue to manufacture devices for different wireless providers like Vodafone, Orange, T-Mobile, Sprint, various wireless providers. So in 2002 was the turning point for the company because they decided to now start releasing their own smartphone, having their names on the smartphone, and also having their own marketing campaign. So 2007, HTC released their first device, which will be the HTC Touch, and in 2008 was the turning point because they released the world's first Android device, which was the HTC Dream or T-Mobile G10, which will be running Android OS on it. And Android OS is actually an open source operating system, which led to more developers spreading the software and running different type of application on the app, which we call today as rooting or jailbreaking if you're using an iPhone. So 2009, HTC will go on to release a statement saying that they sold over 1 million units of the HTC Dream in the United States, and that they held 6% of the smartphone market share in the United States. After the launch of the G1, HTC started growing up, their sales were increasing, and more people were getting to know their products for the first time. In 2009, they ended their yearly quota with 4.5% of the global smartphone market share. And in the first quarter of 2010, it reached 4.9. In the second quarter, it reached 6.8. Third quarter, 7.1. Fourth quarter, 8.5. Then 2011 comes around, they reach 8.9 in the first quarter, and the second quarter in 2011 they reached their peak with 10.7% of the global smartphone market share, and that was the last time they saw growth in their market share, because after that all that follows was a drop in their share. In the first quarter of 2011, their global smartphone market share went from 10.7% to 10.3%, and in the fourth quarter it dropped again to 6.4%, and 2012 comes around and they start off the first quarter with 4.5%, the second with 5.9%, which gave hope that the company was on the right track, but it dropped again in the first quarter to 4%. Meanwhile, HTC was being sold by other companies like Apple and Nokia. Nokia sold HTC over a DA update, which was just a feature that gave users the capability to make calls and send messages during the updates while the phone is updating. But also, Apple sold HTC over the swipe to unlock features, but both of them HTC ended up winning. But at the end of all, Apple and HTC decided to sign an agreement not to fight for over a decade. In 2013, HTC released the HTC One, which gave us hope that the company was back on track. But compared to other companies like Apple and Samsung, HTC was far from being back on track. They are still behind and they are still lacking in their sales. And that led them to make up a plan to come back on track. And that plan was a $1 billion marketing campaign. But the campaign failed to make a meaningful impact on the company, and they didn't see a spike in their sales that they expected to see. From 2013 to 2017, HTC kept suffering, and this was all about to change in 2017. Google decided to buy HTC Research and Development Department for their Pixel phones line, which can also see that HTC manufactures some of Google's Pixel phones. So it might be attributed to some of the competition that they had in China, like Xiaomi and Lenovo, where just had the strong fan base, which just led to HTC having no chance to actually sell in China. That might be one of the reasons that HTC failed. And another reason that might be attributed to the reason for the fall of HTC might be their campaign. They didn't spend a lot of money on their campaign compared to their competitors like Apple and Samsung, who spent about like $10 billion on marketing campaign, but HTC spent too little on marketing campaign. So that might be the reason for why they failed. And even when they tried to make a campaign, those campaigns were not as impactful as their competitors. Another reason might be the low margin for Android mobile phone makers, as Android manufacturers tend to make an average profit of 1.2 cents per fund, which shows that HTC had low margin and a declined market share, which leads to its fall. The lack of innovation, which led to HTC actually getting sold by multiple companies because we are just copying their innovation. So that might be also one of the things that may be attributed to the fall of HTC. Or we can all boil it down to one reason, which might be simply people were not interested in HTC devices and they decided to look somewhere else like Apple or Samsung or Xiaomi or Huawei to buy those devices, and we are just not simply interested in HTC. That might be one of the simplest reasons. Just think that's why HTC actually fell. So HTC could probably recover by doing the same thing that Apple is doing, keep their innovation in Taiwan and moving their manufacturing units in Southeast Asia, where the cost of manufacturing their devices will be much cheaper than compared to where they are right now. HTC has also been designing the HTC Vive VR headset. The HTC VR headset is a very exciting headset that brought a lot of press coverage to the company, and it's one of the products that is successful and leading the company right now. So could HTC ever recover from its downfall? That boils down to one point, and that point is only time can tell whether HTC will be able to recover or not. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to see videos like this again, make sure to subscribe, and yeah, see you.